Airbnb STR Gems, guys. We're back live like every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, guys. I hope you're having a great week. I know I am. A lot of ups and downs, but we're back. I'm your host, Mamadou Diallo, if you're new to the channel. And I'm with my co-host, Marta Miner and Hong Mai. And today, guys, we're about to tell you guys how. By the way, just let you guys know, I'm not complaining about it. I never complain. We just move on. We learn from the mistake. But how I just lost $39,000 booking on one of our Airbnbs wasn't fun at all. But a couple of mistakes being made in order for that to happen. But I'll let my co-hosts introduce themselves first. Let's go, ladies first. Let's go, Martin.
Well, hello. That's sad to hear. That's an opener, huh? How I lost $39,000. So my name is Marta Miner. I am a real estate investor, also a hospitality and brand reputation specialist. So I love Airbnb space. I love short-term rentals, hotels. And my thing is hospitality mostly. So I like to teach people about the hospitality aspect of short-term rentals. But we are all real estate investors, so we love just, investing and teaching you guys and helping you overcome sometimes, because as Mamadou will explain today, things happen when you get in deep waters and with investing. So
100%. Hong Mai.
Hey everyone, my name is Hung, and I am in Orlando, Florida, and I've been in the real estate space for the last 2 years. And since then, I've been really focusing on the short-term rental, luxury Airbnb side of things. And currently we're at about 18 properties under management and growing. So it's really exciting and fun to be here today.
Boom, guys. Again, guys, if you're new to this channel, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when we go live every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time with these two beautiful people. And we'll bring you all the news, everything that have to do with the hospitality business in general. It's not just Airbnb, it's short-term rentals, midterms, and it's so many different strategies. And we're going to start having guests in here also so they can share their successful journeys. So I guess I'm going to go first. Today, we're going to keep this short and sweet. And again, guys, I just want to set expectations. This is not I never complain. This is part of being a full-time real estate investor. I've been doing this since 2019. And one thing that I've learned is you got to make peace with renovations not going as planned, water leaks, tenant issues, whatever, not making enough money as you thought you would make on the property, because you over projected or under, whatever, right? So I've made peace with it. So I never complain. It's just you learn from the mistake. How can we fix it? And then we move on. I don't want anybody to think that this is a complaining thing. No, I'm very not a risk averse person at all. But it can get frustrating, but that's part of the being a real estate investor, right? So we don't want to make it seem like, oh, when you get into real estate investing, everything is. Number one is there's no such thing to me as true passive, you can lay back and just collect your check type of income. It really doesn't exist. You gotta have your hands dirty a little bit. But what happened with this property here, guys, number one, there's a couple of mistakes that have been made. So since day one, the way I found this property is it was sent to me through one of my a wholesaler. Actually, they couldn't close it. Property didn't make sense as a cash deal, so I helped them, turn it into a creative finance deal. Couple of mistakes made there was I helped them close this deal, paid them an assignment fee, and I cheated on myself by not paying myself up front. Second thing is, guys, if a wholesaler sends you, so the wholesaler that sent me the deal, guys, he's also a general contractor. And so when he went to this property the first time, he's like, oh, it's just going to take $12,000 to renovate it. I didn't have any reason to doubt it because he's a licensed GC from my network. So another advice, if the wholesaler have some incentive in the deal, do not send them to walk it for you and give you a code. Because now that I think about it, I think he told me that in order to make a bigger assignment fee on the deal, because once I committed to the deal, ready to go, all in, no more way to back out, we found out that this property, at least, even as a regular rental, this property needed at least $60,000 of work, at least. There was a tenant there. It's just crazy. So that's the first thing. Second thing, hire the wrong general contractor. The renovations first quote was $68,000 we were supposed to spend. Ended up spending, I cannot even tell you how much. I think we went over 100 grand for sure, 100% for sure. And all the renovations was done wrong. When I say everything, is everything, from flooring to everything you can think of went wrong, over budget, not respecting the timeline, completely amateur work. So we had to bring somebody else in. And ironically enough, guys, my hands were tied, so I couldn't find a new general contractor to bring in. What ended up happening is I had to use that same wholesaler as a general contractor that sent me the deal in the beginning. So on top of making an assignment fee, now he made money as a GC in the back end, charged me $20,000, even though he said in the beginning that this property should only cost 12 grand to renovate.
Wow.
Right. So, but my hands were tied. He was the only closest person, one of my equity partners on it, super frustrated. Like, we just had to get this thing going. It's been vacant for a while. And now with all that being said, fourth thing. Fourth thing is we missed out on, throughout this whole process, missed out on the fact that in this area, they actually require homestead for you to do Airbnb. Mm-hmm. And that's another news after all this money has been spent, property has been renovated, furnished, everything, designed high level. Now what do I do with a vacant house? Fully, like, what do I do with all this? So we have it listed currently as a minimum 30 days. And, luckily we have people that have interest. I think these are like insurance misplaced type of tenants. And so they pay even higher rent than Airbnb. So this reservation specifically was at $39,000 for 4 months, right, Hung?
Yeah.
4 months it was supposed to be. And when they showed up, is that when the leak happened? I don't even know. Like,
yeah. So prior to this guest first coming in, we always try to do like a stress test first. And one of the things that I like to do is I like to do a water stress test. So what I had the contractor come back in just to do a final walkthrough of the whole property. And then he was just about to walk out because he was late to pick up his kids. And I asked him, hey, could you do one last thing for me? And that's like this water test. And basically you would turn on all of the faucet in the house for 5 to 10 minutes. And instead of waiting for the guests to eventually find out if there's a leak or not, we will stress test it ourselves and figure out if there is a leak. And then we can make sure that we take care of it before anything happens, right? So we did that, and he started from the top, go all the way down to the basement. And then by the time he got back up to the living room area, dining area, he saw there's like started to have like leaking from the ceiling. And then he ran up all the way back up, and then he saw like there was a leak in one of the bathroom in the hallway upstairs. And even still, as he was kind of like looking through it, there not only was it leaking right from under the sink, it was also kind of like leaking in the wall as well. In between the living room area and the upstairs. And so water was just coming through like eye socket of like this our chandelier, and it was kind of like starting to go through the dry wall itself as well, and it just looked like it was a water park from Universal.
Wow.
Like it was crazy. And so that was 3-4 hours prior to the guest showing up, and then we tried to prolong as long as possible, but it was just not possible to get it to get them to extend as much, because they were traveling like literally from hotel to hotel, and this is the first home that they were going to stay at. So They were really looking forward to it. But we tried to talk to the agent. We tried to talk to the booking agent as well. And the agent had allowed us 24 hours to fix it, but then the booking agent was totally against it, and she was totally for good reason, to look after her clients. And so
Right.
we talked to the agent, and I was fortunate to talk to the agent. And this is where it comes, where you really have to have good relationships with in terms of like insurance agent. You really have to have good relationship with the agent, because what tends to happen is that I told her, hey, just give me the 24 hours, and I'm going to make sure that this is like a blink of an eye. We're going to take care of it. Right. But even before the end of the day, the booking agent, which is a separate department of theirs, didn't agree to it. And, basically went through Airbnb and got it refunded, which, I could have have bad blood about it. But I through the end, I just said, thank you so much for considering us. And, if it's not, if it's not too much burden, I'd love to reach back out again after we finish, to make sure that you guys have pictures of like the before and after of what went down here. And so that's what I did. After we finished, I reached out to the agent, and she's like, hey, I really appreciate you calling back and letting me know, and all that good stuff. And so she said, and out of that conversation, she said, you know what, just because you called back, I actually have another family that we're looking to relocate. So I might be calling you back up very, very soon. So, and I think that's really, something that I learned through this whole process is, maybe doing some of these things prior to a guest checking in, but also what we've started to implement as well is that, like, from now on, if anyone were to stay for at least a month, we're just gonna do a deep clean. And we had a whole company-wide meeting. That probably one of the biggest stressful day ever, just because it wasn't only this property, it was another property as well that also had the same situation. It was just very, very hectic. But it was very fun, and I learned a lot, really.
Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say, right? So for me, there's all these mistakes that I just told you guys, and also on the, again, not complaining or anything, but I think on the management side, because we've dealt with so many like problems with the workers, the GC, and all that fun stuff, we should have tested this like maybe 1 week prior or 2 weeks prior, because we have it listed. And we don't know when we're going to get a booking, but we know for sure that this property has been through renovation. So like doing that kind of test way before we have any reservations should be part of the SOPs. So that was another mistake as well on all that. So again, like I said, guys, just learn from it. Number one, hire the right people. Number two, I'm telling you guys, all these things that I just said, actually, you guys can go back and listen to it. I'm not going to say it. But in order to avoid all those mistakes, make sure all your ducks on the row is aligned. Now, are you sometimes going to lose money? 100%. Are you going to have properties that's going to give you this type of headaches? 100%. If you don't like it, don't get into real estate. It's not for you. Anyway, I'm going to move on to Martha. She probably have something interesting to say too. But that was my story, and I stick to it.
Yeah, we've had quite a few of these big stories from you guys losing like 50K. I think Hung said you guys lost something bigger than that before, right?
Yeah. We lost a 2-month reservation, 50K.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, what I would say is, like, I just came back from Mastermind with Pace Morby, and it's perfect transition, because I think for any of you guys listening to these stories, you're like, wow, this is all scary. Like, I don't want to get into it. Like, this is crazy. I don't want to have problems like that. So at this Mastermind, we had a guest speaker, Dean Graziosi, which I think a lot of you guys know. He's a huge real estate investor, as well as like motivate. I don't know what his true title is, but to me, he's like a motivational speaker and right hand of Tony Robbins. And, I'm going to share with you guys some of the things he said. And this is exactly like what is happening with both of you guys and some of the stuff that I've dealt with. Because a lot of us like want to wait until we know everything and we have perfect contractors and perfect everything, and it's all lined up before we get started. And then you never get started, right? Or the other way is you can jump in it, maybe not have everything lined up. And yes, you may lose some money, or, reservations or things go wrong, but the lessons that come out of it are priceless. Those lessons that you feel on your back, are like so much more powerful than anything else you can learn from YouTube, So what Dean Graziosi talked about is his opening statement was about make life hard for yourself right now. Like if you're going to do it, make it hard. So later on in your life, it could be easy. And a lot of us think that, well, I want to get in, but I just want it to be a smooth ride, like just make it easy. It's never easy. Like as many books that I read on personal development, anybody who's ever achieved anything big has gone through major struggles. It's like a rite of passage. If you don't go
100%.
through it, you can never arrive at the other end, right, of a success end. So he talked a lot about, first of all, how often do we lie to ourselves? Like, are you really doing the thing, or are you telling yourself? First, you have to recognize, like, what are you really telling yourself you're doing versus the actions that you're taking? Are you deep in it? Like, are you taking action? Or are you still sitting there watching YouTube and studying and hoping for right market, perfect scenario when you know everything? It's never going to happen, right? So he said you only build confidence by doing it. Your confidence is never going to get better by reading more books and studying more, bigger pockets or this YouTube video. None of it. That's great knowledge to have. Like it's supplement to what you're doing already. But the only way you're going to gain confidence in what you're doing is by actually going and failing. Like when I remember I was studying for a long time in sub 2 before I took action. And what made me take action was Pace Morby had a Zoom like right towards the end of the year. And he talked a little bit about like, setting goals and all that.
Ooh.
And then he started talking about you have to start failing. If you won't fail, you're never going to earn the right to succeed. And I'm a perfectionist. Like I don't like failure. I like setting up everything perfectly and then smooth ride. That it doesn't work. So I jumped in and I purchased a ton of like sub 2 properties, and I didn't know my exits. I have a partner, so he helped with that. But not until all of that unfolded, and now I'm dealing with the repercussions of that I'm actually learning. Now I am truly a real estate investor because the problems are coming back to me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have always thought that other people have it all figured out and I'm just going to wait until I know it. But you won't know it because until you're in it deep, that's where problems happen. Nobody really talks about these problems. We're open about it. Like we share that. But a lot of times, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, the few things I've done the past few months that didn't really work out so much are a trajectory that's going to change my life because now I know exactly what not to do. I know what my buy box is. Like I know all these things I didn't know before I took action, right? And one more thing I'll share with you guys what Dean said that really motivated me to overcome like fears is that he said like one day you're going to all get to age of, let's say 95, 100, 105, whatever it is for you. And you're going to go and meet your maker. For me, it's God, whatever you guys believe in. And he may ask you one day, like, what did you do with your life? Do you have any regrets? Like, what would you change? We're all going to be there one day. And a lot of people have regrets at that point. And they say, I wish I was braver. I wish I was more courageous. I wish I did that thing that I felt in my heart was for me, but I was scared because I didn't have money. I didn't have education. I didn't have friends. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't want to put myself on social media, whatever it is. And he said, what is one wish that you could, if I was going to grant you one wish, what would it be? And just about every person will say, I want to go back. I want to go back to that moment. And God says, your wish is granted. You're here right now. Like, this is your moment. This is where you start from. Are you going to waste your life and then have these regrets? Or are you going to overcome the fears? Because really, like, we're scared of silly things, right? Most of it is stuff that we think will happen that actually doesn't happen. And if it does, it's a great lesson. Or we're scared that the neighbors will judge us, which they don't really care. Like your friends, your family, they don't really care. They'll watch it a couple of times and be like, whatever, he's doing his thing. And that fear is holding people back from achieving what their true like purposes in life or their desires. Nobody at the end of their life usually says like, I regret taking this action. Nobody says that, but people say, I regret not doing what I was meant to do, or what I felt in my heart was right for me.
100%.
So that's just what I wanted to share with you guys from the mastermind, because it does play into what you guys are doing. Like you're failing kind of, but not really. because you always know the systems have to be tested way before the guests arrive.
Oh yeah.
And you have a whole life ahead of you of reservations that you will know how to handle better, you know?
Yeah. The way I look at this situation is, okay, $39,000 loss. This is a 39 probably million lesson. So if I can avoid this problem moving forward forever, guess what? It's not gonna be forever, but if I can avoid it 99.9% of the time, well, I'm gonna be making so much money, because since no way this is not part of the SOPs anymore, right? So that's kind of how I look at it. So I always butcher his name, the Dean. What's his name? Dean Graziosi, man. Amazing guy. Amazing guy. I love him.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, I mean, is action. You gotta take action, fail forward. Like right now, we're on this podcast, and I just signed while you were talking, Marta, an 8-unit creative finance, seller finance deal while we're here. So we can talk about the successes too. But it's also about showing you that, hey, this is not pink, rosy, la la land type of real estate. The reality is, any investment, actually, I don't know any high level investor that told me that, hey, I'm just collecting checks and I'm chilling on the beach and that's it. Like, it doesn't exist. Life is full of headaches. I mean, your 9 to 5 is full of headaches. It's full of colleagues you hate. It's full of clients you cannot stand. It's full of, waking up in the morning, going to a job that you hate. So to me, anything is headaches. Your family is headaches. Your kids is headaches. So if that stops you from taking action, or, perfection, I'm allergic to perfectionists. Like, I hate people around me that try to be because it stress me out. All right.
Mhm.
So, like Marta just said, guys, you really gotta do it, fail, and then learn as you go. I did the same thing you did, Marta. Like, when I discovered this thing, I'm like, sure, let's go. Just started putting things on the contract and then figuring it out as I go. My first deal that I closed subject to, it was took me 90 days, I think, to close. We had to reschedule the closing 5 times because of all the mistakes, because I was new. But I decided that this one, I'm taking it down. There's no way, like, I want to know what it feels like to close and be on the HUD as a buyer on a subject too. Like, I want to go through the, process. It was hell, but I made all the mistakes you can think of. Even my cash flow went from $900 to $445 because of a mistake. But guess what? I was like, shit, I have a HUD. Is this sub 2? Now I know exactly the title company, blah, blah. Anyway, so Mr. Hung, what you got for them? Do not bring the Bible today. You're on mute.
Hear me?
Yeah, there you
go. Okay. Is it clear?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, for sure. And that day, honestly, it made me reflect too, like, about this current situation that I was in. It made me realize, like, 6 months to 8 months ago, I was having a different set of problems, and that was, working at my parents' salon. And like, now I'm here and I have a different set of problems, and it made me realize, like, how grateful I am that I've progressed it to bigger and potentially better problems, right? Like, I'm not physically there at my parents' salon, like, doing, manicures and pedicures anymore. I'm doing bigger and better things, and it comes with bigger, bigger problems to solve. And so, originally, I think if it was me about, 6 months to a year ago, if this had happened, I would have freaked the hell out, because, like, this is the worst day ever, but I think as time goes on, like, you build calluses. And so these problems, you just have to realize, okay, this happened. What are you going to do about it, like, super quickly? Because if you don't, I remember that day I was on the phone, like, I had 8 meeting calls because I was, getting on calls to raise capital, and I had to cancel like half of them because I couldn't make it. Like, people were texting me like, "Hung, I'm on the Zoom." I was like, "Hey, I'm really sorry, I can't go on right now." Like, it was crazy, right? And so I just felt that day that it brought me back to where I started, and like, if I didn't do what I'm doing right now and I didn't, like, fail forward, I would have still been where I was, 6-8 months ago, and that to me would have been way scarier than losing this reservation, because
100%.
that was what I worked so hard to get out of. And I know that as I progress, these bigger, problems are going to come up. And because they're bigger problems, I know that bigger problems create bigger paychecks. right?
Yeah.
Bigger problems are going to create bigger opportunities for me and for the people around me. And so I know that if I can overcome this problem, it's like, oh man, I know I'm going in the right direction. I'm leveling up, right? I know, like, if you don't see any enemies in the front, you're going in the wrong direction.
Right, yeah.
And so I knew how that, this is going in the right direction. And, at the end of the day, I still had dinner plans with the kids that I teach on Saturdays. And it was the last day. And, it was ironic because that whole day happened. And then I still needed to go and hang out with them as the last day before summer. And as I was sitting there and I was like, man, like this just happened. And these kids, they don't really care what's going on, like they just want me there and present. And so I was able to have that kind of like grounding and then still enjoyed that night with them. And I think that was probably my biggest lesson is like, even though you're scared of making mistakes, it's going to be even a bigger mistake not taking any action.
Yeah, and 100%, like Dean actually talked about that, like, don't fear the problems, just learn to provide solutions, because he said anybody that is moving up in the right direction is going to encounter bigger and bigger like you spoke exactly, Hung, to what he was trying to explain to the mastermind students, is that the more you do, the bigger you become. Pace Morby, when Pace goes home, he's like, how many lawsuits am I going to have today?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Like now imagine you and I, we don't want lawsuits. I'm not at the level yet where I would want that problem. But as you keep moving forward, those are the bigger, better problems. And he said, don't ever avoid them because they will continue to happen. Just learn how to overcome them and learn from them,
If you actually don't have them, you need to question yourself. Am I really doing the right thing? Like if you wake up in the morning and it's not chaos, like the team is not overwhelmed with deals, they don't know how to underwrite them. You're not overwhelmed with, oh shoot, man, I gotta find a new private lender because we have more deals than private money available. Oh, the title company is a shit show. I need, like today I woke up, it was like after is like, it is what it is. Because if you're doing that, that means you're doing more than just what you're supposed to. And there is no way you're taking the right action as an entrepreneur, right? Otherwise you can keep your 9 to 5 and then wake up every day and everything goes right. It's just not possible. This is why I always say I've made peace with it. Long time ago, lawsuits, losing a deal, losing money, delays. I've made so much peace with it. Even my team, they wonder how am I so calm. It's like, what you want to do? The problem happened. Just go find the solution. We can talk about it all day, but what you gonna do? You're gonna quit real estate because a title company messed up or a private lender backed out last minute when they were supposed to fund a deal that you're so obsessed about. Didn't work out. What you're gonna do? You're just gonna stop calling people. Then you shouldn't have been an investor in the first place. But that's kind of how I look at it. But guys, again, short and sweet, 28 minutes. This is the record. I think we're going to keep it here today. Again, guys, I'm your host, Mamadou Diallo. And every single Tuesday we go live, guys. We're going to start bringing guests. So I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing our voices. So they can also share their success stories and losses and whatnot. And then we'll keep bringing you news about the short-term, industry and hospitality business and keep you guys informed with that. So if you're new into this channel, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Don't be greedy with the algorithm. And one last word, guys, for the crowd.
No, I love it. I think this is kind of unusual for us to all share the failures because people are always used to hearing successes. And I think I really like, and hi, Marco.
Marco.
Supporter. So yeah, I think I love the direction we're heading. I think we should bring more people to also share like how they overcame and not only how they're successful. Because when you're starting out and you see all the success, everybody's having success. When I started Sub 2 and I saw everybody's getting a deal within 24 hours, like I felt so bad about myself. I'm like, dude, how are they making 60,000 assignment day after joining? That's not fair. But that's not common, right? Like nobody talks about like, hey, it took me a year. It took me 3 years. It took me, everybody's journey is different, but we're sharing the real deal. Like this is what happens. This is how you go and you continue to keep going forward. That's what's important.
100%. Boom, Mr. Hung, one last word.
No, I'd like to keep it short today. Actually, that honestly, that's it for me. If you didn't get anything out of that, I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, that's a record, guys. We're trying to keep it 20 minutes or below, but Look at that. We're 30 minutes.
36. That's awesome.
Because listen, you guys' attention span, including me, is effed up, right? We don't like to watch long form stuff. But when we bring the guests, guys, obviously we're gonna keep it longer. But again, guys, leave a comment below if there's any topics you want to hear about in this industry, specifically on this topic, STRs, Airbnb. Just let us know in the comments. Honestly, we can come and talk about it and tell you our experiences and all of that. So don't hesitate to leave that in the comments. And again, make sure you connect with my co-hosts on their social media, respective social media platforms, and connect with me too. And until next Tuesday, we'll see you, Mr. Marco. Let's get that deal done, Mr. Hong. Mr. Hong, call Mr. The gator. If you're looking for an actual real human gator, like a real human gator in Florida, is Marco. They probably have a gator there in the water. It's called named Marco.
Yes.
Marco, we appreciate you tuning in,
like
brother.
a river full of gators.
All right, guys. Next Tuesday, peace. I don't know if I was talking